Hi guys, welcome to Saltwater Saturday on Life of Gaz. This is where I aim to put a new sea fishing video on every Saturday at 5 PM. Hi guys, welcome to Life of Gaz, and today I'm fishing out on the blue mink. Now I'm at home for a very good reason, because I've had to break this video down into two parts because there's so much action in it. I wanted to bring to you guys, the video would have just ended up being too long. So what I've done is I've taken the first section of this trip, which was where we were drifting for mackerel, and hopefully you guys are going to enjoy that, a bit of mackerel fishing out there. Now having said that, get your eyes peeled for next week's video, because next week's video is the second half where we go out tote fishing, and I had a lot of fun doing that. But for now, enjoy the mackerel fishing. Now when it comes to mackerel fishing, essentially you're lure fishing for them, and I'm using a set of feathers that I made myself. These are just out a bit of balloon ribbon that you get when you get a balloon. It's like a wedding or something like that. You can buy it from places like card shops fairly easily. Now when I make my own feathers, I try and mimic the fish which the little mackerel are feeding on, which are generally things like whitebait. And the way I work the feathers is by dropping them down to the bottom when I'm on a boat, and then retrieving up but pumping each time. Now I count how many turns on the reel, so if the mackerel are holding it a certain depth, then I know to come up to that depth and try there to start with. But essentially what I do is I let the weight hit the bottom, then I give it one turn to just bring that weight slightly off of the bottom there, and then I pump with my arm, bringing those feathers up. Then when I drop back down, I give one turn on the reel, and I will just keep repeating the process. Now this depends of course on your tide state. If the tide's running quite strong, then you don't really need to put a lot of effort into moving your feathers yourselves, as the tide pulling against them will actually give the feathers a little bit of action and entice the mackerel into it. And if the tide's running really strong, then you're sometimes, I feel, pulling those feathers away from the fish rather than being able to pick them up. So you tend to just get the odd one or two rather than full houses, which we ended up getting a few of them as this video goes on. Now you can see just there, when I bring my mackerel up over the boat, a few other people around me are bringing them up at the same time. So we went through a little shoal of mackerel then and managed to pick them up on that drift all together, as these guys are shoaling fish and seem to just like hitting things in packs. About 5 minutes later, also managed to hit another little pack of mackerel as well, and again everyone around the boat managed to pull them up. So for a while it went dead on the mackerel, but I did manage to pick up a bite from a fish, and I knew straight away it probably wasn't a mackerel because I couldn't feel it vibrating on the hook as mackerel tend to. Now when I brought it up I was quite surprised to see that I'd actually caught a new species. Now this is a new species for me because I've never caught a grey gurnard before, but grey gurnard are lovely little fish, and I'm always happy to see new species, especially if it's a funky little thing like this. So we've gone back to drift the same area again, and pretty much the same thing happened with the same species of fish, another grey gurnard. But this one had hit the bait when it was down, hit the feather, sorry, when it's down on the bottom. And then a couple of turns up, I wasn't convinced that I had anything on there, so I just held the rod still a bit, and again I felt a little rattle. So I pulled it all the way up to find that fish, another beautiful little grey gurnard. So I've never caught one before, and then I had two in two drifts. Then, to see what else was about down there, as the mackerel had cleared up, and during that tide state, we were just waiting for the tide to start running again to hopefully get back into them. We decided, a few of us, to just pop a bit of bait on the bottom of the bottom few hooks on the feathers, and hopefully try and tempt a couple of other species up. And after a little while, and after a few little pecky, little nothingy bites, all of a sudden I got something which just felt a tiny little bit more definite. Only very small, but felt like a fish. So I brought this one up to the surface, and I was quite surprised to see that I caught a little pouting. For the next 20 minutes or so, all the way around the boat, only seen the odd single mackerel caught. And we were just waiting on that tide turning, and as soon as it did, then the fish really switched on. One of the things you'll see me do quite a lot is that when I feel the first fish bite, you'll see me just strike and then hold the rod still, just for a few seconds. Now when you do this, it gives other fish in the shoal to chase other little lures which are attached to obviously your line, and I'm fishing a string of 5 here, so every time you see 5 fish come up, that's a full house for me. The next 6 minutes of this video, the mackerel are there, and when they're there, they're there. So I've not chopped or edited this in any way. this is in real time how fast they were coming up over the boat. And that wasn't just for me, that was for everyone. Now, what I was doing to try and help myself to sort of maximise how many fish I could catch was I was actually slowing the drop down as well. So normally I would just let it free spool down to the bottom and then I'll bring it back up through the fish. But the fact that I knew that the fish were higher in the water, what I then did was thumbed the line down, and I sort of dropped it down at the rate I would be working the feathers anyway. Now with this method, what happened was I was hitting the fish on the drop almost every drift. I think for about 4 drifts running I hit all the fish on the drop, and I come up with good numbers on each string. Now unfortunately I do have to apologise for the water on the lens. This isn't from the fish flicking it off of their tails. This is due to the fact that we had not heavy but not quite drizzle, just a fine rain that was actually blowing into me the entire time I was fishing for the mackerel. So I had a westerly wind blowing into my face, and also that coupled with the rain meant that I got quite a lot of water driplets on the camera lens. And then as quick as that, they'd stopped. So very quick to come on, very quick to go off. But as far as we were concerned, there must still be a few more mackerel out there. So we carried on trying for them because it was too early in the tide to really go out for the tope yet. After that mad rush, then we pretty much all went back to just picking up the odd single or double, occasionally a triple, but that was about it. You can see now I'm not putting much effort into pumping the rod anymore, and the reason behind that is because now the tide state has actually started to speed up. We're getting a good amount of water running through, which makes the feathers work for themselves, so I don't need to do quite as much to attract the bites. Well, thanks for that, guys. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, make sure you hit the subscribe button down here. Check out my latest fishing video over here. And of course, my boat fishing playlist up top.